Hey everybody, my name's Chris, 1441 Vinyl. I just want to thank everybody for their support so far. It's been really fun, and it's really good to work in the VC with a bunch of people that are just supportive and nice and so forth. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about doing a video, do it, because it's a lot of fun. And just put it out there, man, who cares? But anyhow, so today I'm talking about two records that I picked up. One was a blind buy, and the other I picked up from an album that I wanted from my teenage years. So the first one, let's talk about that. That is the In Excess Kick. It was the Rocktober edition on green vinyl. Gatefold was cool. Got the green vinyl. Gatefold was cool. Green vinyl. Thought that was neat. Back of the record there. Came with a printed inner sleeve, lyrics, and some pictures. All right, and so it was a pretty cool pickup. The songs on there, if you can see them, Guns in the Sky, Nuisance. Every song in this record I pretty much knew the words to from when I was a teenager. So it was a fun listen. But I will tell you one thing. It was very educational. Here I go dropping crap again. Every video I'm dropping stuff. One of these days I gotta get my side table over here. But nonetheless, it was very educational to listen to this record because the quality was just not there. I'm trying to think. This is Atlantic on 33 1/3, but it was on Atlantic, like I said, on 33 1/3, and you know, I was excited to hear it. I was like, I haven't heard these songs in so long, because I lost the CD. Actually, I think a family member took it from me, but anyways, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so I was excited to hear the songs, and I was highly disappointed. This thing was flat as could be. I mean, it was just, it had to have been, I'm not an audiophile. I don't pretend to be, but I'm learning a lot watching you guys in the community. And I can tell you this thing is flat. It sounds kind of muddy. I'm not saying don't buy it, because it was a fun listen. It really was. Nostalgic and all that, but it just didn't sound right. It certainly wasn't quality pressing of some sort. Now, having said that, that really did open my eyes to, man, what these audiophile labels are putting out in 45 RPM, even some of the 33 RPM stuff. I've been buying the 45s after comparing the two, between a 45 and something like that. There's no comparison. The Masterpieces by Ellington, a great sounding record. Michael Fremer over at Analog Planet recommended that, said it was one of the best sounding records he's ever heard. That's huge coming from him, right? So I was like, I gotta pick this thing up. So I don't know if I love the music. I don't know if I love the music, but it does sound amazing. I went over that in another video. Now, I will say that this next record was recommended by Michael over at 45 RPM and the channel, and I've been learning a lot from him on different levels. Michael, I really enjoyed your stereo setup, your hi-fi setup. That was really interesting. I don't have anything close to that, as you can see. So I think, well, here, I got $150 bookshelf speakers on a fairly expensive retro platter on a Denon. And then I have kind of a cheap, what's it called, preamp. So it's like a $50 Amazon special, which I would like to upgrade all this stuff later. But anyway, that's another story. So Michael, thank you for educating me in regard to some of these pressings, right? So this one you recommended, and quote unquote, absolutely gorgeous, right? I cannot do a German accent, but it was gorgeous, right? And I said, well, man, let me pick it up. And it was a blind buy on two fronts. I don't have a lot of classical, okay? I'm more of a 70s folk rock kind of guy, and jazz. I've been getting into more and more jazz as we go on here. But again, I'm not a classical listener. I played some musical instruments growing up. My teacher was a classically trained musician. He actually played with the Symphony Orchestra in Boston. Is that a thing? And I think the Boston Pops, two different ones. But anyways, nonetheless. So I have a couple different classical records, stuff that, you gotta have. Swan Lake, and there was a couple piano pieces that I picked up. And then Garaldi, well, I guess that's more jazz, right? So I'm going back into the jazz, but I don't have a lot of classical. So this record, okay, he told me to pick up, I did. Man, let me tell you something. The Royal Ballet on 45, two disc, 45 RPM. This thing, gorgeous. No offense, Michael, gorgeous doesn't even do it justice, right? This thing sounds amazing. I put this on in the morning, had some coffee, and they're in the room with you playing the instruments. Even on my cheap equipment, I say cheap, but even on my lesser equipment, great equipment, you can really kind of just sit back and just pick out where these instruments are. It was truly amazing. I mean, the quality of this pressing right here is really, really good. Like I said in other videos, I can only imagine on a upgraded system what this thing sounds like. Because if it sounds good on my system, it's going to sound good on your system. I'll tell you that right now. And you will notice the difference. So when I put on In Excess, kick, and then I put something like this on, forget it. Absolutely forget it. This is Analog Productions. Again, 45 RPM. Comes with a book. Gatefold with a booklet, I should say. Okay, just a kind of a plain back cover. But you will definitely, if you're not into classical, you will definitely realize or you have heard these songs before. You'll recognize the songs, okay? If you're not into classical and you're like, well, let me just give it a shot, this is the one to get. This is the one to get. I've heard someone else say, Swan Lake's a straight up banger, which is hilarious because it's like, well, what the heck, has anyone described classical as a straight up banger? Let me show you the vinyl. That's what we're here for, right? RCA Victor, the shaded dog, looks so good. All right, so that's side one. So the Nutcracker and La Boutique Fantasque. Never said I could speak French. So, though, I mean, I'll tell you what, they're just great. Really, they sound amazing. Get the album if you're even thinking about getting into classical, or if you just want to dip your toes into it. This is the one to get, guys. I know it's pricey. I got this from the InGroove, Mike over at the InGroove. Free shipping. It is pricey, but absolutely 100% worth it. If this is the only album you have that you buy for classical, you're done. So you're done. I don't know. I might be done. I don't have a lot of classical, but that right there, that thing is great. A couple inserts that come with it. Analog Production, different releases that they're going to be putting out. And again, I'm a fan. Analog Productions, totally sold. If you're on the fence thinking, well, I don't know if I should spend that type of money on Analog Productions, Do it and don't look back. Save up if you have to. Save up, buy it. An old guy in the military, an old chief of mine told me one day, he said, be lazy. Whatever you do, just be lazy in life. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, no, be lazy. Do it right the first time. Do it right the first time, and you never have to worry about it. And he goes, that's being lazy because you don't have to do it twice or 3 times, right? I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense there in a little while. But anyways, so that's the 2 records that I wanted to show really quick. Again, In Excess, Kick, fun album to listen to, but man, just totally flat. And then you put on something, Analog Productions, something like this, forget it. There is no comparison. There is no comparison. And I get it, not all records are pressed audiophile style, but if you could put some of these records in Analog Productions through the Analog Productions system. In Analog Productions, go on their website, they have all kinds of genres, all kinds. I have all kinds of different genres from Analog Productions, and again, this is my Analog Productions commercial, I guess. But anyways, I'll stop talking because, again, I tend to just ramble. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment below. I'd love to hear what you think of those 2 records or any other Analog Productions that you guys might want to recommend. All right? Thanks. Take care.